Welcome back to History of Simple Things. Today we're diving into a question that pops up a lot. What's the real difference between green tea and matcha? At first glance, they seem like close relatives. Both are green, both come from the same plant, and both are known for being healthy. But when you look closer, you'll find that matcha and green tea are like cousins with very different personalities. One is calm, light, and refreshing, while the other is bold, rich, and almost ceremonial. So let's break down between green tea versus matcha, how they're grown, how they're made, how they taste, and why people around the world love them in such different ways. Right here, on History of Simple Things. Both green tea and matcha come from the Camellia sinensis plant. That's the same plant behind black tea, white tea, and oolong. The difference isn't in the species, but in how the leaves are grown, harvested, and processed. Think of it like grapes in winemaking. The same plant can give you very different results depending on how it's treated. So yes, technically, matcha is a type of green tea. But not all green tea is matcha. That's where the story starts to get interesting. Let's start with traditional green tea. Farmers usually grow it in the open under full sunlight. The leaves soak in natural light, which gives them their characteristic sharp, slightly bitter flavor. When harvest season arrives, the leaves are plucked and quickly steamed or pan-fired to stop oxidation. This quick heating step is crucial. It prevents the leaves from turning brown, which would otherwise turn them into black tea. After that, the leaves are rolled, dried, and packaged. What you end up with are the familiar curled or flat green tea leaves that steep in hot water. Brewing is simple. Pour hot water over the leaves, let them steep and strain. The result is a light golden or greenish drink with a fresh, grassy aroma and a clean, crisp taste. Now, matcha takes a very different journey. About 3 to 4 weeks before harvest, the tea plants are shaded with bamboo mats or special cloth. This reduces the amount of direct sunlight the leaves get. And when that happens, something magical occurs inside the plant. It starts producing more chlorophyll, which deepens the leaves' green color and increases the levels of an amino acid called L-theanine. The shading gives matcha its vibrant emerald hue and its naturally sweet umami flavor. After harvesting, the youngest and most tender leaves, known as tencha, are steamed, dried, and carefully deveined and destemmed. Then comes the final step: stone grinding the leaves into an ultra-fine powder. And that's the matcha you see in ceremonial bowls or modern lattes. A silky, bright green powder that dissolves directly into water or milk. Unlike green tea leaves that are steeped and removed, matcha is consumed whole, leaf and all. This is where green tea and matcha diverge the most. With green tea, you're essentially making an infusion. You steep the leaves, extract their flavor and nutrients, then discard them. You drink what the water has pulled out, not the whole leaf. Matcha, on the other hand, is whisked into water. Since it's powdered, nothing is thrown away. You're drinking the entire leaf in suspension, which makes matcha much more concentrated. A traditional Japanese preparation uses a bamboo whisk or chasen to froth the tea into a smooth, creamy liquid. That's why matcha has such a rich body compared to regular green tea. It's literally the leaf itself. Flavor is where people often notice the biggest difference. Green tea is generally lighter, with a slightly grassy, sometimes astringent profile. Depending on the variety, it can be nutty, floral, or even sweet, but it's always refreshing and delicate. Matcha, on the other hand, is bold. It's creamy, slightly sweet, and carries a savory umami depth you don't really get from steep tea. The shading process enhances that umami quality, making it taste richer and smoother. Some people describe it as almost buttery, while others say it has a subtle sweetness with no bitterness when made well. Another big difference comes down to caffeine. A standard cup of green tea has around 30 milligrams of caffeine, depending on how long it's brewed. Matcha, however, packs more, usually 60 to 70 milligrams per serving. That's about the same as a small cup of coffee. But the energy you get from matcha feels different. Thanks to L-theanine, the amino acid we mentioned earlier, the caffeine in matcha is released more smoothly into your system. Instead of the sharp spike and crash you might get from coffee, matcha delivers a calmer, longer-lasting alertness. Green tea also contains L-theanine, but since you're not consuming the entire leaf, you get less of it. That's why matcha is often favored by monks for meditation. It sharpens focus without making you jittery. So which one should you drink, green tea or matcha? Honestly, it depends on what you're looking for. If you want something light, refreshing, and easy to prepare, green tea is perfect. It's affordable, hydrating, and subtle enough to drink several times a day. If you're after a concentrated nutrient boost, a stronger caffeine kick, or just love bold flavors, matcha might be your go-to. It's also great for rituals, whether that's a mindful morning whisking session or just a frothy latte at your local cafe. There isn't really a better choice. They each shine in their own way, and sometimes the best option is to enjoy both depending on your mood. At the end of the day, green tea and matcha are two sides of the same coin. They share the same origin, but take different paths that make them unique. One is gentle and straightforward. The other is rich and ceremonial. So the next time you're sipping a cup, whether it's a simple green tea or a frothy bowl of matcha, you'll know the story behind what makes each one special. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.